to WDEV at radiovermont.com. The energy.
How does anybody live and drive in Boston every single day? This guy stops in the middle of the road with his hazard lights on. This guy will yield. That guy won't let you go. That guy passes in front of you. That guy goes 3 lanes of traffic all in one shot. How does anybody do this? Look, if the Red Sox aren't going to play Yoshida Endeavors as they're about to be swept, then we might as well just give up and go.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
I'm glad that Mac Jones looks better. That's really important. He needs to look better. But if it were a video game, he'd still have an overall rating of 76, and that ain't cutting it.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A very happy Friday to you. A happy Father's Day weekend to you here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. The show is brought to you by Fecto Homes. They're your total home solution in Montpelier. Check out the banner behind me if you're watching on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. You can also get in on the Air Auto text line. That's Air Auto text line. They're located on North Main Street in Barrie with their collision center, their sales center. You need a vehicle? Well, Air Auto Sale is the place for you. AirAutoSales.com, AirAutoSales.com, 802-585-3026. We're on for 40 minutes today, 5:30 until 6:10, and then we kick it on over to Red Sox baseball. Sox and Yankees tonight. Domingo Germán against Tanner Houck in that one. The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show were brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. We are largely done with Patriots talk until training camp, right? We have this DeAndre Hopkins thing that could sustain us for more time for the Patriots if it keeps going, if the longer DeAndre Hopkins takes to decide. But largely, we're done with the Patriots until training camp. So this will be one of the last Patriots-related segments we do until towards the tail end of July when the team reports. I think it's like July 20th or so. So indulge me here. We have some Red Sox stuff as well, but indulge me here on the Patriots conversation. Opening thoughts, Sticks and Stuff, Swanton Lumber again. Their new location, by the way, in Rouse's Point is coming soon. All the reports that I heard on Mac Jones were good, right? Out of spring practice, out of OTAs, out of mandatory minicamp, all the reports on Mac Jones were good, right? I got Phil Perry saying he looked good. I got Tom Curran saying he looked good. I got Mike Reese saying he looked good. I'm going to believe that Mac Jones looked good. And I am very, very encouraged by that, right? That is very, very important, right? Kind of like the intro just says there. Mac Jones being comfortable, Mac Jones being confident, Mac Jones being happy, and Mac Jones trusting in Bill O'Brien, those are all huge things. And I'm very, very happy to hear them because the Patriots need it, right? I believe that a confident athlete is a better athlete. So Mac Jones being confident in what's happening around him can only be a good thing. That said, my worry for you is this. Do not get sucked into thinking that Mac Jones is all of a sudden perfect. Okay? Just don't. Mac Jones was terrible last year. So Mac Jones being better is a great thing. It does not make Mac Jones Patrick Mahomes. It does not make Mac Jones Aaron Rodgers. It does not make Mac Jones Tom Brady in his prime. It does not mean that he will replace Tom Brady effectively in New England and make us all forget about number 12. It's not the case. Okay? Mac Jones being confident and better is a good thing. Mac Jones being happier is a good thing. But at the end of the day, Mac Jones's limitations are still Mac Jones's limitations. And I just want you to be aware of that. I have heard the rhetoric on Mac Jones, and it feels like people are forgetting the warts in Mac Jones's game. Okay, Bill O'Brien has a job to try to hide those warts, and hopefully he can do it effectively. But they are there. At the end of the day, as Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And Bill O'Brien can have a great game plan. It can have great verbiage. It can have great play sheets. And Mac Jones can believe in it. And then the very first time that a edge rusher comes off the edge and beats a Patriots offensive lineman, and Mac Jones is forced to try to escape the pocket, you will be reminded of his flaws. He cannot do it. Okay? Mac Jones cannot escape the pocket. Mac Jones is not a guy who has elite arm strength. Him being better is important. Him being happier is important. But the limitations are still there. And I just want everybody to recognize that. I'm not trying to pile on the kid. I'm not trying to bring your buzz down on a Friday, and I'm not trying to get you feeling negative about the Patriots. I just want people to be aware of the situation. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is further proof why the Patriots need DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, it's that simple to me. This is why the Patriots need DeAndre Hopkins. Because Mac Jones might be better, but at the end of the day, Mac Jones is still limited. How do you help get over a quarterback's limitation? You give him better players, right? You've given him a better coach. You've given him a better system. That's really good. Now you have to give him better players. He's got a good running back. We think he's got two good tight ends. He's got a collection of some nice wide receivers. You give him DeAndre Hopkins, you have further reduced his limitations. I have said over and over again that Mac Jones is Kirk Cousins. Well, Kirk Cousins won like 13 games last year. Why? Given a good offensive play caller and head coach in Kevin O'Connell, had elite wide receiver talent around him in Justin Jefferson. I mean, top of the charts, cream of the crop. Adam Thielen, still a productive player, and Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison, a productive running back tandem. Okay, then you throw that in with a soft division, and the Vikings win 13 games. Right? Like, that's how this goes. You have a quarterback who is limited, but you give him resources, and you catch a couple of breaks, and you throw together a great season. Now, the Vikings didn't win the Super Bowl, but you throw together a good season. Look at the 49ers. Look at what they did for Jimmy Garoppolo. Look at what they did even for Brock Purdy. You insulate your quarterback and you reduce their limitations. Jimmy Garoppolo's limited. Brock Purdy's limited. Kyle Shanahan's an elite play caller. George Kittle's an elite tight end. Deebo Samuel's an elite offensive playmaker. You factor that in with great coaching that leads to a great running game. Now you throw in a great defense, and all of a sudden the quarterback, it's not that they don't have to do too much, it's that there's not as much pressure on them to play hero ball, which they're not capable of doing. Mac Jones is not capable of hero ball. That doesn't mean that you're garbage. It means that you need help. So this is all further proof of why the Patriots need DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, a lot of you are reading the press clippings. A lot of you are listening to the audio that I play during the news. And you're saying, wow, Mac Jones looks great. I guess Mac Jones has taken the next step. Mac Jones has gotten better, yes, but his better is not good enough to compete still in the AFC. And everybody needs to recognize that. And by recognizing that, you will go get him DeAndre Hopkins. To me, it is that simple. Right? I mean, look. Patrick Mahomes is an elite talent. He has a lot of things going for him. He could probably overcome it if he didn't. Joe Burrow is, I wouldn't say he's an elite talent. He's not as talented as Patrick Mahomes, but he's pretty good. He could overcome some dysfunction. Right? Aaron Rodgers could overcome dysfunction in his heyday. Tom Brady could overcome dysfunction in his heyday. Mac Jones can't overcome dysfunction. He can't overcome limitedness. We saw that last year. Look at what happened to Mac last year. Bad coaching situation, bad play calling. Mac gets injured. Now he's at less than 100%. Hard schedule. You don't catch the breaks on that in full. Caught some, not all. And then, you throw in that you had injuries around you, right? I mean, Damian Harris is hurt. And we see injuries to Tyquan Thornton last year, and Devontae Parker, and Jacoby Myers. Okay? And Kendrick Bourne's a little salty. Things weren't perfect for the Patriots last year. By getting DeAndre Hopkins, you reduce things having to be perfect. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to insulate a quarterback who is average to above average and give him the best chance to succeed. I look around the league, and this is what's happened. Not everybody won the Super Bowl, right? The most talented guy still won the Super Bowl. But all around the league, average to above quarterbacks got help and ended up with pretty good years. In some cases, got to the playoffs. Like, I look at my Seahawks. I don't think Geno Smith is the second coming. I don't think Geno Smith is better than what I saw in Seattle with Russell Wilson all the years prior. But You know, Gino has real talent. All these guys have talent. Gino has talent. He's got an elite playmaker in DK Metcalf, an elite possession player in Tyler Lockett. He's got a good young running back in Kenneth Walker. They drafted 2 offensive linemen who weren't perfect, but were pretty good. Okay? Got a veteran head coach who instills confidence in you. They caught some breaks last year, no doubt, that the Cardinals were a dumpster fire and the Rams were a dumpster fire in their own division, and that allowed them to a couple of victories in the division and allowed them a playoff berth. Right? So you caught a couple breaks and you insulated your quarterback and you got a good year. That's what I'm asking the Patriots to do. Okay? Insulate your quarterback and things get easier for him. Right? To bring in DeAndre Hopkins, things get easier because Mac Jones is still the same limited guy. He is still the same limited guy. What I can do is make the situation better around him. That's why they need DeAndre Hopkins. It's why they need to close this deal. I heard Albert Breer say DeAndre Hopkins was looking for an $8 million base. Come on, $8 million? Let's go. Like, this deal should be done already. Okay? Unless DeAndre Hopkins just flat out doesn't want to play here, this deal should be done. And if he doesn't want to play here, I'm going to throw money at him until he wants to play here. I do have a question for you all, though, 802-585-3026. I was listening to Albert Breer earlier today, and he was talking again about the DeAndre Hopkins situation. Here's what he said. This is interesting stuff. I'll ask you this question after you hear from Breer.
He's got an injury history. He doesn't practice very much. I mean, he's going to need volume, right? He's going to need the ball quite a bit to be fully what he's been in the past. So there are things that you're going to sign up for with DeAndre Hopkins. You got to get yourself to a comfort level that you're willing to sign up for him. And look, like I've been told like the last couple of days that this deal was going to have to happen on Bill's terms. Is does sitting down with DeAndre Hopkins make those terms more flexible?
Okay, 802-585-3026. You've heard there how DeAndre Hopkins is. After hearing that, do you still want him? Okay, A or auto text line, 802-585-3026. He needs the ball a lot. He's not going to practice a lot. I will say this. I am willing to meet DeAndre Hopkins' terms, provided he signs early and is ready for training camp. That is my non-negotiable thing. If I'm Bill Belichick, DeAndre Hopkins is a 31-year-old, 10-year veteran. Okay, I don't need him out on the practice field on Wednesday every week. I need him on game day on Sunday. I don't usually buy into things like that. I don't usually love things like that. But when you're 31 years old, you're 10 years in the league, you've played for Bill O'Brien before, you know the verbiage, you know the offense, you know the terminology, and you've got that kind of skin in the league, then yes, I'm okay with you not practicing as much. What I'm not okay with, and this is one thing that I fear, that DeAndre Hopkins is going to drag this out, and he's not going to sign until the end of July, and he's going to do that so he avoids the early and the hard part of training camp. That's what I can't have. That is my line in the sand. Okay? If DeAndre Hopkins doesn't want to practice on Wednesday, I can handle that. If DeAndre Hopkins needs me to throw him the ball a lot, trust me, I'll want to do that. But if DeAndre Hopkins wants to slow play this so he can get out of training camp or get out of the hard part of training camp, that's where I draw the line. You've got to be all in. You've got to be all in getting here and being here and learning everything and gaining rapport with your teammates and rebuilding things with Bill O'Brien. And that's got to happen from day one of camp. I can't have you join in day 15. That's my line in the sand. If you're willing to sign early, work out for the 3 weeks, 4 weeks until camp comes, and come into camp day one ready, then I will work with you. But if you just want to take 5 weeks off and show up on August 1st and think that you're going to be the DeAndre Hopkins of old, that's not going to fly with me. That's a bad precedent, and that's a bad example. I'll work with you on a lot of things, DeAndre Hopkins. The Patriots need you, and you have been that good in the past. But just showing up here August 1st, that's not going to work. Peter over in Williston says, go get Hopkins. Like you said yesterday, he knows O'Brien's playbook from his Pro Bowl days in Houston. That's true. Again, I don't think he needs to to scour the playbook every night until midnight. I believe that he knows enough about what's going on. But I need him there meeting with my quarterback, wanting to meet my quarterback, wanting to engage with everybody, and I need him doing that early. We talk about guys getting together in the offseason and training sessions and throwing sessions and meeting here and there. Pat's wide receivers have been all in on that. DeAndre Hopkins needs to show he's one of those guys as well. If he's not, then he can play somewhere else. But if he's willing to be all in, then I want him, they need him, and he'll help and he'll make a difference. It's the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are brought to you by Fecto Homes. Albert Breer did say one very worrisome thing about the Patriots offseason. It's been a pretty good offseason overall, right? The draft was, there were some exciting things about the draft. Bill O'Brien's here. Mac feels better. A lot of good things this offseason. Breer said the tackle situation is really not good, though.
Trent Brown will be gone based on what's happened this spring, but he kind of has them over a barrel right now because if they don't have him, now they're relying on a guy who's back up in Denver, who played some, but Calvin Anderson, who I don't think anybody thinks is a long-term solution about tackle, and then Riley Reef, who's, you're familiar with from all those years in Detroit, is what, 5 years past his prime, probably? I think that's being kind of getting closer to like a state of disuse.
That is a problem. Okay. Offensive tackle is the most important thing outside of your quarterback on the offense. And as much as I love flashy elite wide receivers, you need a good offensive line. You specifically need good tackles. And the Patriots do not have a good situation there. That is completely worrisome to me. Okay. Trent Brown, he doesn't seem to be real invested, right? He's got an injury history. He doesn't seem to be real invested. He didn't show up day 1 of minicamp. Day 2, he didn't look like he was in all that great a shape. That's a problem. Now you've got Calvin Anderson, who a lot of people have never heard of. You've got Riley Reef, who they say is over the hill. That is not a good thing. Tackle can disrobe your offense if it's bad. Tackle can ruin your football team if it's bad. It is that problematic. Okay, it is that important. It is that problematic. I watched it for years. Russell Wilson was great. Wide receivers were great. Couldn't block. Russ gets killed every single game. He's running for his life. Problem. Okay, 9 wins, 10 wins, out of the first round. Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, right? Against the Bucs, COVID year 2020. Now we're in 2021 at this point. Patrick Mahomes is great. Still had Andy Reid. Still had Tyreek Hill. Still had Travis Kelce. What didn't he have? Offensive line. And the Bucs rolled in that Super Bowl. The tackle position is humongous. And if you tell me that the Patriots have deep-seated problems at that position, my panic meter is going to go way up. We can talk about Mac looking great. We can talk about Bill O'Brien fitting well. And we can talk about DeAndre Hopkins potentially being here. If you don't have the ability to block for Mac Jones, not a lot of that other stuff matters. Not a lot of that other stuff matters. So if Trent Brown's not invested, and the other guys aren't very good, then yeah, my panic meter would be high. Texter says, I agree with your conditions, Brady, to have DeAndre Hopkins join the Pats. They've got to spend the dough. He's already their best playmaker. Get the deal done. Yeah, he would. He's just got to be willing to sign early and get into camp. He's just got to be willing to sign early and get into camp. All right. Brady Farkas Show is brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Chaim Bloom admits he was wrong today. I'll tell you how and why. That's next on DEV.
Visit Fecto Homes, where they can guarantee you top dollar for your existing mobile home, regardless of the year. They offer many finance options with competitive rates and down payment assistance exclusively for mobile homes. Fecto Homes has several models for sale off the lot or customize and order your own. Make the most of your time and money. Visit them today at 350 River Street, Route 302 in Montpelier, or online at fectohomes.com.
It's leaves for less time at Memorial Valley Ford, right, kid? That's spot on, Dan. After a huge bang, where our
customers took advantage of aggressive lease offers from the manufacturer, at Lemoyne Valley Ford, we're still leasing for less. It's my job to keep you informed of the vehicle market, and I'm telling you, it's the best time in years to get a deal. And that's what we're ready to do at Lemoyne Valley Ford. Check this out. Right now, with just $3,900 cash or trade down plus fees, returning lessees can get a low mileage 2-year lease on a brand new 2023 F-150 STX Super Cab for just $399 per month. And folks, our inventory at Lemoyne Valley Ford is huge and growing daily. It's safe to say the chip shortage from last year is in the rearview mirror, and take it from me, our lot at Lemoyne Valley Ford is full, with more inventory today than any time in the last 3 years, and we're making deals.
Woo! A drive for 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and lease for less at Lemoyne Valley Ford, and spread the word, folks. At Lemoyne Valley Ford, we know price matters.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Do you want to learn more about the free market perspective on important public policy issues affecting you, your work, and your community? I'm Bill Sayre, and I hope you'll do so by joining me in conversation with Vermont opinion leaders as we discuss how best to make Vermont an ever better and more affordable place to live and work. Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre, weekdays 11 till noon.
WDEV also serves the Northeast Kingdom at 101.9 W270BR Island Pond.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Get back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on DEV, brought to you by Fecto Homes. AR Auto text line is here as well, 802-585-3026. Peter says, if what Breer says about the tackle position is true, that's huge news for the Patriots, and it's bad for Mac Jones doubly because the running game won't be good as well. Absolutely true. I spent the first 10 minutes talking about ways to limit Mac Jones's limitations. Well, that's having a good running game, that's having a good line, that's having good playmakers, that's having a good offensive scheme. If you don't have a good offensive line, a lot of that other stuff doesn't really matter. So Trent Brown, the Patriots line last year was not very good, right? Trent Brown's in and out of the lineup, and David Andrews is out. The line is worrisome, right? We've seen offensive line play derail good teams and good quarterbacks, right? Joe Burrow's rookie year couldn't block, torn ACL. Right? Joe Burrow, who went to the Super Bowl in year 2, tore his ACL year 1. Why? Could not block. Right? Russell Wilson, my Seahawks, couldn't block. Have you seen him in a Super Bowl in the last decade? No. Russell Wilson was still great for a long time. The line was horrific. Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, as I said. Tom Brady last year, under siege. You can be as good as you want, and you can have all kinds of firepower, but if you don't have the ability to sit back there and block in a passing league, and you can't let the running game help you out, you are swimming uphill right from the opening whistle. All right, Red Sox come up about 15 minutes from now. Chaim Bloom admitted a mistake today. Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox released Matt Dermody. This will probably be the last time we ever talk about Matt Dermody, but Matt Dermody, remember, was that left-handed pitcher that the Red Sox brought up last week against Cleveland, June 8th against Cleveland. Yeah, last Thursday. Started against Cleveland. He was the guy who had the homophobic tweets in his Twitter profile. The team didn't know about the tweets when they signed him. Chaim Bloom said this week that they were doing more digging on Matt Dermody, and they found even more offensive posts in his past, and now the team has released him. And I will just say this. This whole thing was an unnecessary stain on the organization. Okay? A lot of you are going to feel how you feel about Matt Dermody and his content. And again, I have seen the full gamut of people with their opinion on Matt Dermody. At the end of the day, this was a distraction, and this was a clown show the Red Sox didn't need. Chaim Bloom fixed that today, but the damage is done. The Red Sox never should have been in this position, right? They should have understood who this guy was when they signed him. They should have released him when they found out what was up. He's not valuable enough as a pitcher to have saved in the organization. You and I know there's a double standard. If Matt Dermody was really good, he'd still be here, right? Josh Hader is still here despite tweets from his past. Okay? If Matt Dermody could pitch, he'd still be here. He can't pitch, so he never should have been here in the first place. He never should have stayed as long as he did. And I don't know. It's very interesting. I don't know what exactly is all at play here with Chaim Bloom, right? Did Chaim Bloom get a talking to from the organization and say, hey, you made us look like a mockery, get rid of this guy? Maybe. Did Chaim Bloom preemptively say, hey, I made a mockery of you. Please, please, please don't fire me. I'll rectify this? Maybe. Did Chaim Bloom say, hey, I know I'm on thin ice. I can't be going to bat for guys with homophobic tweets? Maybe. I want to know what, somewhere in here, there's a dynamic here. Okay? I mean, Chaim Bloom, he got rid of Matt. He thought Matt Dermody could pitch, right? Matt Dermody was on the 40-man roster. Matt Dermody got signed. Matt Dermody was called up. Matt Dermody got sent back down to AAA after he was done. Chaim Bloom clearly thinks that Matt Dermody can pitch. I don't have to think so, but he clearly does. So why did he get rid of him now? Did he get rid of him to cover his own backside? Did he get rid of him because he was issued an edict? Did he get rid of him because he truly realizes that what he did was wrong? I don't know. But this was an unnecessary clown show. Okay, this was an unnecessary clown show that didn't have to be that way. Red Sox never should have been in this position. They put themselves in this position by not vetting properly and then by allowing it to get to this point. Matt Dermody never needed to pitch for the Red Sox. Texter says Blue Jays went through the same thing with Anthony Bass. Yeah, the difference is that Anthony Bass for a long time was a useful pitcher. And that's the double standard, right? Okay, guys who are useful to you often can survive a whole lot of crap. And they can do a whole lot of crap. Anthony Bass had been in the league for 12 years, right? He had been useful on a lot of different teams, and the Blue Jays thought he could still be useful to them, so they kept him around. Now that he's not playing well and he's hurting them PR-wise, he's easy to get rid of. Matt Dermody's easy to get rid of. I just want to know how Chaim Bloom, why he did this. Because again, he clearly thinks Matt Dermody can pitch. I want to know if he was issued an edict, if he genuinely has remorse, or if he's just trying to cover his own backside because he senses that he's on thin ice. And I think Chaim Bloom is getting to the point that he's on thin ice. Buster seems to think he's like really on thin ice. I'm not quite there yet. I think Chaim Bloom probably gets to see the rest of the season. And then after the season, we'll have to wait and see how the season ended up. I can't tell you that he gets a full off season. But if they finish well this year, I think that he will. I don't know what's going to happen, though. Right? If the Red Sox are in the playoff chase, then I think Bloom's definitely back. If they end up, losing 17 of 24 and having to sell off the farm, then he's probably not. But I don't think he's on as thin ice right now today as Buster seemed to imply he was yesterday. It's the Brady Farkas Show brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Reminder that next week we've got Red Sox are taking on the Twins, so we actually have some longer shows next week. We're on until 6:40 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, we've got a day Twins game. We've got a full show coming up on Thursday nights. We're looking forward to that. Then Thunder Road. And then Friday, we got a full show as they take on the White Sox. So definitely a lot of good stuff here coming up. Good. I'm glad to see that next week we have a lot of full or mostly full shows. That's good. Reminder, you can download the podcast always on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. We'll get you ready for Red Sox Yankees. We'll give you the starting lineups from Fenway Park. We'll do it next after CBS News here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com, and the WDEV radio app. We're brought to you by Fecto Homes.
WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield. 96.5, W243 Barrie. 98.3, W252 CU Montpelier. Along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier. Streaming at WDEVradio.com. 91 years of serving Vermont. The friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. A truck driver who killed 11 worshipers at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018 has been convicted on 63 criminal counts.
The guilty verdicts were never in doubt. The gunman's own lawyers conceded at the beginning of the trial that their client, armed with an AR-15 rifle and other weapons, attacked and killed worshipers at the Tree of Life synagogue.
The verdict here demonstrates a level of accountability that hopefully will make people feel just a little bit better.
Orrin Siegel, Vice President of the Anti-Defamation League's Center on Extremism.
When there's accountability for hate and violence, that's always an important message.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The Justice Department has found that Minneapolis police engaged in a pattern of police abuse against minorities. Attorney General Merrick Garland described the findings.
MPD officers stopped, searched, and then use force against people who are Black and Native American at disproportionate rates.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said the department does not take these findings lightly.
We will change the narrative around policing in this city. Out of the darkness and trauma our residents and our police officers have experienced over the last 3 years, we will emerge as a beacon of light for the rest of the world.
The report follows a sweeping 2-year civil rights probe. Perryton, Texas is cleaning up after severe weather tore through the town. KTVT-TV's Jason Allen is there.
Perryton's downtown area and local firehouse took a direct hit, but crews were still able to use their ambulances and trucks to reach people in need.
We've had some roofs blown off and some trees.
The deadly storm system also hit parts of Oklahoma with suspected twisters and powerful wind and hail.
At least 3 people were killed in Perryton. Government whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg has died. He leaked critical information about the Vietnam War. Here's CBS's David Martin.
Daniel Ellsberg started out as a true believer in the war, but he turned against it with a vengeance when he leaked the Pentagon Papers, revealing the machinations, doubts, and deceptions of the Kennedy and Johnson administrations as they slid deeper into the Vietnam quagmire. The leak was a bombshell, which led to a Supreme Court decision upholding the right of news organizations to publish the papers over the objections of the Nixon administration. Ellsberg might have gone to jail had a judge not dismissed the charges after operatives from the Nixon White House burglarized his psychiatrist's office.
Ellsberg was 92. President Biden in Hartford, Connecticut, has been praising the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which he signed into law last year, saying the work is far from over.
We are not finished. We are not finished. We are not finished.
This is CBS News.
Need hires who dazzle without the hassle? You need Indeed. Their powerful platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Sizzling summer savings are happening now at Ashley. Get ready to save on the hottest furniture styles for every room in your home. Upgrade your living room with a new sectional. Create a restful retreat with a new bed. Or elevate your dining room with a new dining set. And to make sizzling savings even hotter, we offer flexible payment options for every budget. Score savings that are almost too hot to handle. Visit your local Ashley store or Ashley.com to shop and save today.
This episode of Ion Travel is brought to you by Viking, providing all-inclusive voyages on rivers, oceans, and lakes around the world. Designed for curious travelers with interest in science, history, culture, and cuisine. Viking Chairman Torsten Hagen often says, Viking offers experiences for the thinking person, with no children and no casinos on board. Learn more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
Ohio Republican Senator J.D. Vance has put a hold on all Justice Department nominees. CBS's Zach Hudak tells us why.
J.D. Vance is very angry about Donald Trump being indicted this past week. He says that if the Justice Department is going to be politicized and used to try to hurt a candidate for president, then he is not going to continue to allow new nominees to be put into the department.
Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama is blocking Pentagon appointees, something the White House has decried this week as a threat to national security. Reddit is facing an ongoing blackout from some of its most active users after outrage erupted over plans to charge some third-party apps for data access. Thousands of communities within the online discussion network went dark this week. Reddit's CEO says the company has no plans to change course. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
5 minutes away from Red Sox baseball here on DEV. Seen a lot of talk about Red Sox-Yankees and the rivalry and if it's as good as it used to be or whatever. This is what I've been telling people forever, okay? Rivalries, there are long-standing rivalries, and Red Sox-Yankees are one of them. But as far as what rivalries are hot, it's all about who is good at the time. This is the thing about professional sports that people don't seem to realize, okay? In professional sports, now it has changed so much from the 70s or the 80s that, like, when the Celtics and Lakers were coming through in the 70s and 80s, they played each other in the finals every year, so there's always something on the line. And these guys stayed in the same franchise for largely their whole career, right? Like, guys play. So you grew up for a hatred year after year after year, right? Pistons, Celtics, Pistons, Bulls. These guys are on the team for several years at a time. The core players are on the team for several years at a time. Now, rosters in baseball change out so frequently, you don't have time to develop a massive hatred. Stars leave. Role players leave. Managers leave. You don't have that continuity. What breeds hate is not just the cities being in the same division, but also the players coming up through the system together and knocking heads year after year after year. And that isn't the case. Heck, now we get guys playing for both teams. There's so much movement in sports that you don't get these rivalries as much like you want to in the past. It all comes down to who is good. I have said this, I've used this over and over and over again, right? Like, I'm a Seahawks fan, okay? I hate the entire National League West, or the entire NFC West. But who do I hate the most? Let me know who's the best team, okay? Right now, I hate the 49ers. Before that, I hated the Rams. For a little while, I hated the Cardinals, right? The rival is who you're gunning for in the standings. So, yeah, do the Yankees see the Red Sox as their biggest rival right now? Probably not. They see Tampa, okay? They might see Toronto. Do the Red Sox see the Yankees the biggest rival? They're chasing everybody. Okay? Cubs and Cardinals. Yes, it is always a rivalry, but right now the Brewers and Pirates are at the top of the division and the Cardinals are in last. It doesn't mean as much. Okay? Giants, Cowboys doesn't mean as much when the Giants are in last place in the division every year. Now it might mean something. Okay? Washington and the Cowboys is a long-standing rivalry. Yeah, they're in the division, but if you ask any Cowboys fan or player, who do you hate more right now? They're going to tell you Philly. Why? Philly's at the top. Packers-Bears is a long-standing rivalry. The Bears hadn't been any good forever. So who do we think is the Packers' biggest rival in the division right now? Well, for a long time, it was probably Minnesota. I could ask all of you, who's the Patriots' biggest rival? Well, when Rex Ryan was the coach of the Jets, you would have said them because the Jets were really good. Now you'd say Buffalo because Buffalo's at the top and that's who you're chasing. That's the way rivalries work. So yes, Red Sox Yankees right now does not mean as much as it used to. Doesn't mean that it can't or won't. 2018, these two teams met in the playoffs. I would say the rivalry was renewed then. So what people have to realize is that professional sports has changed so much that rivalries are harder to maintain. They're easy to build because there's always someone at the top, but they're harder to maintain. The Yanks are 39-30. They're in third place in the AL East. The Red Sox are 34-35. They're in last. Domingo Germán pitches for the Yanks 4-3 with a 3.49. Tanner Houck for the Sox 3-6 with a 5.23. Jake Bauers leads off in right for New York. Giancarlo Stanton's the DH. Gleyber Torres at second. Anthony Rizzo at first. Josh Donaldson's in third. Willie Calhoun's in left. Billy McKinney's in center. Kyle Higashioka, the most happy Stroka, is the catcher. And Anthony Volpe is at short. Verdugo in right. Justin Turner's the DH. Rafi Devers in third. Adam Duvall in center. Masataka Yoshida's in left. Christian Arroyo's at second. Tristan Casas is at first. Connor Wong is the catcher. And Pablo Reyes is the shortstop. And he bats ninth. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you Monday here on the Brady Farkas Show on DEV.